Hello. So, when we talk about this high potential population, however you want to call them, and how their brain is wired, because we've already established their brain is actually structurally and functionally different from the neurotypical brain. And one way that we see this exhibited, it is actually a gentleman came up with the name. His name is Dabrowski, and it's the theory of overexcitabilities. And a lot of people, when they come to work with me or we engage in conversation, a lot of people will say to me, no, I'm not gifted, no, I'm not high potential, because they have this idea that if you were like genius level, like you're going to be an Albert Einstein. But when I give them this information about the overexcitabilities, they immediately see themselves in this theory. So I wanted to give it to you, to not only maybe understand yourself better, but also maybe it's just someone you know, and to understand this population better. So the 5 different types of overexcitabilities are psychomotor. And psychomotor is when you have an excess of energy. So it can be physical energy, or it can come out as being very verbose, needing to talk all the time, or it's like the I need to run, but it's just an excess of energy, and however that comes out. The second one is sensual. This is when things light you up immensely. You see a sunset, or you hear a piece of music, and an intense amount of feelings come with it, or you eat something, and the taste, the flavors, all of those coming together just create this wonderful experience that is incredibly heightened. That's the sensual. Then we have the intellectual. That one kind of speaks for itself. People who have this overexcitability, it's really hard to satiate their need for new information. Not just new information, but creativity, just something new. And after intellectual, it is, I think I'm stopping here, imaginational. So these are the people who have the stories going in their head. The movie reels, they're always they see in pictures in their brain. They are the ones who write the stories, who act out the plays, who dress up, and they can sometimes just live in this world because it's so real to them in their head. And the last one is emotional, and this is a huge one, and I think most gifted people will find themselves hit somewhere in this emotional piece, because it does run so deep. And these are the people who feel emotions so very deeply. And I like to say that if you are not in this population, it's really hard to understand how deeply these feelings are felt. I often say, and if you have followed me at all for any amount of time, you're gonna hear this story again and again, because I think it sums it up. I was in first grade, and I was having a birthday party, and my mom was bringing all the treats to school for me to hand out to my classmates, and a storm had just gone through. And when she came, she told me, she said, "Oh, I just want to let you know the tree in the yard was blown over. Okay, here are your treats, let's hand them out." And I remember nothing about the party. Literally nothing. The only thing I remember is she said the tree had blown over in the yard. And why would this be such a big deal? Since I was young, had a very interesting, odd relationship with trees, with nature, but especially trees. They really spoke deeply to me. And the trees in our yard at home, I grew up on a farm, they were like old friends to me. They were old, faithful friends. I could always count on being there. And she just told me that my friend had died. So someone who is not feeling deeply would just be like, get over it, right? It's just a tree. What is the big deal? And to me, it really was like a friend had died, and that's all that I remember from that day. So that is the last one. So a quick recap on the overexcitabilities. We have the psychomotor, we have the sensual, the intellectual, the getting lost in my brain, the intellectual, and then we have the imaginational and the emotional. So I would encourage you to look up some of these overexcitabilities, or just maybe something I said explained it enough and you're like, oh yeah, I see myself in that. And a lot of this high potential population, typically you don't just have one, you have multiple of those. And in a later video, I'm going to be addressing like how this plays out in our life and what we can do to find some balance and calm with these excitabilities and how they play out in our life, because it can be, it can cause a very intense life, and often it does. So hopefully you find this helpful, and I'll catch you next time.